So, what if the solution to humanity's biggest problems wasn't discovered in some high-tech lab or a corporate boardroom, but instead, it was found in the middle of a complete mental breakdown? It sounds wild, I know, but that's the incredible story we're diving into today. How one man's profound personal crisis became the very blueprint for a cosmic vision of our future.
And this is the grand vision, right here, from author and systems thinker Andrew Turtle. Just take a moment to imagine that, a world where scarcity is no longer the engine driving our society. A future that's defined not by what we're missing, but by what we can actually create together.
At the very heart of this vision is a concept he calls the utility economy. Now think of it like a new operating system for the entire planet. All the essentials, we're talking energy, housing, food, even digital access, are treated like public utilities, just like water or electricity. Basically, they're available to everyone. It's a massive shift away from market-driven goals and a move towards universal well-being.
But this isn't just about handing out free stuff. No, it's a roadmap to a world where human potential is finally, truly unleashed. See, when survival is no longer our #1 priority, we can dedicate ourselves to things like creativity, finding our purpose, and helping our entire planet to flourish.
Okay, so you gotta be wondering, right? Where does an idea this huge, this optimistic, even come from? What was the spark that ignited this meticulously designed plan for our future?
Well, the answer is probably not what you're expecting. This grand vision wasn't born in a quiet think tank or a university lecture hall. It was actually forged in the fire and chaos of a complete psychotic break.
In his book, The Dialectics of Mania, Turtle takes us right inside this experience. He describes a period where his reality just completely shattered, and it was replaced by this incredibly powerful delusion that he alone, held the solutions to every single one of the world's problems.
He gave this experience a name, his creation story. Imagine this, an intense 7-day period where he truly believed his own actions were part of this cosmic, world-changing event that would bring about a new dawn for all of humanity.
And this wasn't just random chaos. As you can see, his delusion had this clear day-by-day structure. It kicked off with him buying new tech, which he saw as the start of an evolutionary adventure, and it ended with him inside a psychiatric hospital, literally fighting for his basic rights.
You know, this whole thing wasn't just about the chaos inside his own head. It was also this direct, head-on collision with a mental health system that he felt was more about control than about actual healing. A system that left him feeling completely unheard and trapped.
But here's where the story takes a fascinating turn. Because what's really incredible is what happened next. He started to reframe this deeply traumatic experience not as some tragic ending, but as the very beginning of his life's work.
And this right here, this shows you that transformation in action. It's amazing. On the left, you've got the raw, chaotic ideas from his delusion, this new dawn, the last days of our world. And then on the right, you can see how he meticulously refined those ideas into the core concepts of his formal systematic vision, the abundance transition and planetary integration.
It's just incredible when you think about it. The personal myth of his creation story, the very delusion that led to him being hospitalized, literally became the intellectual foundation for his published creation series, his life's work on the evolution of humanity.
And that experience in the psychiatric ward, it lit a fire under him to build better systems. He was so critical of what he called the us versus them culture, and it drove him to start designing alternatives that were based on actual partnership and collaboration.
And he wasn't just talking about it in the abstract. He documented the system's failures meticulously. This scorecard from his book is a perfect example. It shows exactly how the hospital was failing to inform patients of their rights or even tell them about peer support options. It's this kind of hard evidence that fueled his call for major reform.
So this is it. This is the crucial turning point. He transforms from being a patient, trapped inside a broken system, to becoming an architect of brand new ones. He didn't just sit back and critique the old model. He got busy actively designing the alternatives.
And this wasn't just a theory anymore. It led him to actually found a whole series of really ambitious projects, all of them aimed at building the infrastructure for a world that's more connected, more coherent, and more compassionate. I mean, from connecting creators to designing a planetary-scale supercomputer, these are the actual blueprints for his vision of the future.
So when you step back and look at the whole picture, it's pretty profound. He literally turned the terrifying isolation of psychosis into a working blueprint for connecting all of humanity.
And make no mistake, his story has had a real impact. It's not just some fascinating personal tale.
It's now seen as a powerful contribution to the entire global conversation about mental health and the need for systemic change.
So in the end, that's the real story here. A truly harrowing personal crisis becomes this universal roadmap for planetary evolution. It just goes to show you that sometimes the most painful, most personal parts of our lives can actually hold the seeds for our most profound contributions.
And that leaves us with a pretty powerful question for ourselves, doesn't it? How can our own greatest challenges become the source of our deepest, most meaningful purpose?